All right, missions are pointless without partnerships. And I'm proud and honored to be a part of the TRANSCOM Air Mobility Command partnership. It's a treat to suit up every morning and tackle every challenge this nation and this world can throw at this team. And when it comes to TRANSCOM and AMC, it's just been truly amazing to be a part of that, and then to watch each and every day what the Soldier, Sailor, Airmen, Marines, and Guardians get after from the joint team under the TRANSCOM lead. So it is indeed my pleasure right now to introduce, John, I'm going to say it, my favorite soldier, the TRANSCOM DCOM, John Sullivan.
General Minahan, sir, thank you very much for that kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's terrific to be with you. Now, I know you were expecting General Van Ovost, and she absolutely loved to be here right now. But she had a very pressing matter to attend to, and so thank you for allowing this soldier to crash your party. And I'll have you know, I had very little knowledge and much less experience with cornhole before I arrived here yesterday. But I like to think I'm a fairly quick study, and that after last evening, I think I could adequately represent the Army in a cornhole competition if called upon to do so. And on that note, competition, I promise I'm not going to belabor this morning. Did any of you happen to see a football game last weekend? Yes, that's how you alienate your crowd within 30 seconds of beginning a speech. So, but again, I'm not going to belabor it, although I did just mention it opaquely, and I won't do it again, maybe. So to all the general officers, senior enlisted leaders, thank you for being here, supporting our mobility warriors. I'd like to thank the association. General Everhart, sir, you have been very gracious in welcoming me here. Thank you for that. Chief Williams, who is not here, but I know is with us here in spirit, Air Mobility Command, and the resort staff. What a phenomenal facility in which to hold this event. And finally, thank you to our mobility warriors and our industry partners for dominating the discussion across our joint enterprise this past year during impressive operations and exercises. From our aeromedical crews to our PA teams, our cyber warriors, maintainers, loggies, contingency response forces, support forces, and air crews, you have been absolutely crushing it. We need to keep this momentum going in order to compete and, if necessary, defeat multipolar threats in the changing strategic environment. But before I dive into this, I want to acknowledge the exceptional performance over these last few weeks supporting our allies and partners in Europe and the Middle East. Your adaptability, resilience, and commitment has been truly remarkable, and it sends a clear message both to our allies and to potential adversaries that our military is ready and capable of responding anywhere, anytime. Many of those who plan to attend this conference and indeed sit in these very seats aren't here right now because they're getting after it. They're getting after the mission and continuing the momentum you've built to demonstrate the power of rapid global mobility and logistics. Thank you for all you continue to do, and to those out there right now answering our nation's call. The momentum you've created can be carried forward by effectively executing what we refer to, and you know very well, Mission Command, which achieves a decision advantage for the joint force across the competition continuum, from cooperation to conflict. Mission Command enables success in the constantly changing and immensely challenging environments we face through disciplined initiative, shared understanding of the operational environment, and all important, commander's intent at all levels. When executed well, we can ensure logistics will never be the limiting factor and provide a decision advantage over our adversaries. While decision advantage can seem an abstract term, let me offer you a framework and some context for what it means. To start, it means improving our decision quality through data and resource-informed actions. It encompasses anticipation and initiative to shape systems, processes, authorities, and outcomes while we have the opportunity to act, helping leaders at all echelons preserve time and create better options. To get after achieving decision advantage through Mission Command, I'll unpack the threats affecting this advantage, highlight what we're doing to mitigate them, and then finally focus on what we'll need from you to ensure lethality is delivered to any adversary who seeks to harm us or one of our allies. The conflict in Ukraine and now the Middle East reaffirms that this is still the decisive decade. In Europe and the Indo-Pacific, Russia and China continue to undermine the international rules-based order through a changing character of war, threatening our global logistics infrastructure. Their actions contest the joint force, they contest our commercial industry partners, our allies, and our home is no longer a sanctuary. Let's take a look.
The challenges posed by the CCP and PLA are complex and require a coordinated response.
Some fishermen have completely stopped sailing out of fear of being harassed by China.
Philippine resupply boats and the Philippine Coast Guard hit with water cannon and subjected to dangerous maneuverings by the Chinese Coast Guard and militia vessels.
The U.S. military has released video of yet another Chinese fighter jet harassing and flying dangerously close to a U.S. military plane. The Pentagon says the Chinese military has made similar reckless maneuvers on U.S. planes more than 180 times in the past 2 years.
With the supply chain crisis putting a spotlight on ports around the world, China's outsized role in the global economy is front and center.
The use of lodging at ports around the world could subject sensitive U.S. military logistics to more surveillance by Chinese intelligence and military operators.
But that's not all. Huawei is also seen as a cybersecurity threat to the U.S. Washington has accused the company of being a potential conduit for Chinese spying and cyber theft.
The Polish authorities are investigating an apparent hacking attack on the National Railway Communications Network. Poland, which is the close ally of Ukraine, is a key transit for Western arms destined to aid its neighbor.
The Kremlin right now is trying to turn the tide after months of defending against Ukraine's counteroffensive.
Israel's billion-dollar iron wall was supposed to keep Hamas militants out. Instead, Israelis were left virtually defenseless as fighters from Gaza swept through town after town.
No water, no food, no fuel for generators, no medicine. Nothing is getting in.
The message that I bring to Israel is this. You may be strong enough on your own to defend yourself, but as long as America exists, you will never ever have to. We will always be there by your side.
Ladies and gentlemen, our routes, networks, and nodes are challenged by aggressive actions from our adversaries. Kinetic and non-kinetic threats alike place our logistics at risk. Chinese state-controlled companies are leveraging technologies to monitor, control, and anticipate our logistics movements, both at home and abroad. Systems like LogInc, their state-sponsored commercial logistics platform, are providing global insights that could be weaponized against our supply chains. And black tech, a malign cyber actors linked to China, are tunneling into computer systems, compromising our commercial industry that the joint force so heavily relies upon. By gaining access to data, our adversaries gain an advantage that enables cyber attacks and that can restrict our freedom of maneuver, disrupt our logistics flows, and potentially cause physical harm. Cyber physical attacks, that is, a cyber attack that causes a physical action, can also affect critical infrastructure enabling China to disrupt critical services. Such capabilities have been on full display over recent years, with the Triton malware attack in 2017 marking a turning point for cyber attacks. Triton targeted oil refineries in the Middle East. Once inside the industrial control systems, it disabled safety alerts, allowed dangerous operating conditions, presenting physical threat from cyber activities. And in 2021, the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack led company leaders to shut down their 5,500-mile-long fuel pipeline on our eastern seaboard to prevent the malware from spreading. This put our Defense Department consumers on the East Coast at risk, and it degraded our ability to meet our own domestic energy needs. And as recently as August of this year, Poland's railway network was hit with a simple, short-range attack that activated the emergency stop systems on 20 trains, disrupting a key element of multimodal logistics for a close ally. These cyber attacks are only growing in frequency and taking on new forms as this young warfighting domain continues to evolve. With the changing character of war, our bases will become fighting positions once more, requiring renewed defense against physical threats. China has fielded hypersonic missiles, and Russia has already employed them against Ukraine. These long-range weapons threaten all our ports, fuel storage sites, stockpiles, warehouses, and marshaling areas. Additionally, mass drone attacks can overwhelm the battlefield and have caught the world's attention. Ukraine is using them with great effect against Russia, and Russia is using them against Ukraine. But access to new weapons and tactics isn't limited to nation-states. Drones have become the weapon of choice for terrorists and rogue actors. Air power now comes at a discount and is accessible by anyone who has the means and will to use it. Our adversaries take every opportunity to use these new weapons and evolving tactics to challenge us. China and Russia know that strategic mobility and power projection are critical to our joint operations. They know our global posture, our capacity, command and control, and integration into the joint scheme of maneuver enables us to present a credible force. So they are preparing to deny, degrade, and disrupt all nodes through all networks. Their preparation threatens our operations, activities, and investments, and our ability to seize the initiative and integrate across the joint force, as well as with our allies and partners. With all that threatens our ability to project, maneuver, and sustain our joint force, you have been making an incredible difference every day across the globe. You have provided our national leaders a decision advantage and ensured that promises made are promises kept. Just look at Ukraine. Over the last year and a half, since Russia's blatant aggression, we've provided critical support across multimodal missions, showcasing the deployment and distribution enterprise's flexibility, moving the equivalent of 3 aircraft carriers. These numbers only capture portions of the immeasurable work that you have done. And we've synchronized the demand here in the Ukraine mission set with our commercial air partners very well, bringing their incredible capacity to bear. Fully 70% of the air missions that you see depicted in the top left of this chart have been conducted by our commercial air partners. And of course, this also helps us preserve organic capacity for higher end requirements. Together, by anticipating requirements before they fully materialize, we opened up additional capacity early to create decision advantage. And you've remained agile to fluctuating demands. You've embraced the thrash, a great word, thrash. You've embraced the thrash between the scenes, and you've ensured that aid has flowed at the speed of need. Thank you. And this past February, you responded to earthquakes in Turkey and Syria within 24 hours of notification. helping millions who were impacted. We did this alongside more than 20 NATO allies and partners and helped extract over 1,000 survivors from the rubble. Our ability to respond to tragedy came from years of collaboration, which laid the groundwork to attain decision advantage by shaping systems, processes, and authorities, enabling us to deliver hope and relief. Exercises, as you well know, act as crucibles to reaffirm our commitment to international partnerships and build and strengthen relationships. They provide opportunities to develop insights and foresights to shape future operations, activities, and investments, further preserving time and options when it's needed most. Opportunities for our air medical professionals exercise ultimate caduceus to Mobility Guardian exemplified our road to gaining decision advantage, hand in hand with a credible and capable coalition of nations. Your participation in these exercises this past year has been absolutely indispensable. So let's take a look and see some of the highlights.
Against all odds and doom and gloom scenarios, Ukraine didn't fall. Ukraine is alive and kicking.
Well, the World Health Organization says that some 23 million people were likely impacted in Turkey and Syria following the earthquakes and aftershocks, and humanitarian groups are working around the clock to deliver aid to those in need.
TRANSCOM operates an agile and resilient logistics enterprise comprised of our military components, commercial partners, and industry teammates delivering for our nation, our allies, and partners around the world. We project and sustain the world's most capable military force.
That video only captures a small cross-section of the outstanding capability you'll bring to any future fight, a place your expertise will be in high demand. During World War II, the chief of naval operations at the time, Admiral Ernest King, said, "I don't know what the hell this logistics is, but I want some of it." Sounds like a Navy quote. Yeah. The requirement for logistics you provide won't stop. This is where we need your help. to retain decision advantage and operationalize our joint warfighting concept. This concept is a combined vision for how the joint force will operate across all domains is now incorporated into joint doctrine. One factor called out in joint doctrine is friction, which creates obstacles for execution. It can impede adversaries, or it can hinder our joint force. Future distributed operations can exacerbate friction and impact TRANSCOM's ability to command and control in real time, challenging our decision-making and in providing credible capacity. We must plan for denied, degraded, and intermittent and low-bandwidth environments, and you must be empowered to take action in the absence of connectivity. As a method to accomplish command and control, mission command is a philosophy empowering subordinates to seize the initiative and is absolutely crucial to achieving decision advantage. Mission command provides decision space to higher echelons to focus up and out, anticipate challenge, and set the conditions for continued joint force success. To realize the full power of mission command at all echelons for all leaders, there must be, first and foremost, continuous dialogue at every level, laterally across the seams to attain shared understanding of the environment. Equally important, leadership must provide clear guidance, all-important intent, and empower subordinates to seize the opportunity, and encourage this disciplined initiative while accepting prudent risk at the appropriate level. We must be risk-informed, not risk-constrained. Mission command cuts across the competition continuum, from cooperation, campaigning, through crisis and conflict. To be clear, we've seen the hallmarks of this philosophy, initiative, and decisiveness made by this mobility team time and again during campaigning and crisis. But great power competition will be different. Will be contested at every turn, and force projection will be challenged, testing us in new ways, and your initiative will make all the difference, enabling us to meet these challenges we have yet to face. With novel approaches and your initiative alongside our allies and partners, we will remain ready now and in the future. Through their initiative, the AMC Maintenance Modernization Team is pulling our maintenance training into the future. Mr. Timothy Stevens, Mr. Roy Renderer, Mr. Jerry Hunter, and Tech Sergeant David Shepard have been relentless pursuing new immersive training environments. Academia and industry are already demonstrating early success with the use of virtual training. And because of those like this team, the Department of Defense is seeing gains now too. To this point, their tenacity has impacted 13,000 maintenance technicians across 23 locations, providing an immense return on investment with time and cost savings, increased aircraft availability, and training throughput. Their efforts increase capacity and mean higher quality training, ultimately improving our ability to respond anytime and anywhere, a clear decision advantage. At times, that increased capacity also enables hope and comfort to our allies and partners. While deployed to Turkey, Tech Sergeant Kavion Bryan's leadership led to the effective delivery of 9,000 tons of humanitarian aid following those devastating earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. During the fast-paced operations to get relief to a desperate population, a Turkish citizen fell while loading trucks, with a severe head injury and rapid blood loss threatening this Turkish ally's life. Tech Sergeant Bryan took action, maintained his composure, and demonstrated compassion and empathy. In addition to providing comfort to millions of people and personally helping save a life, he demonstrates the power of relationships and our unwavering support of allies and partners. His initiative decreased our response time and developed the trust necessary to strengthen and shape systems across our vast networks, improving our collective resilience in the face of adversity. And we've also made progress with the resilience of our KC-46 fleet through discipline initiative, like that of Captain Luke Allgood, the 305th Air Mobility Wing's Tactical Data Link Manager. His tenacious efforts ensured our MAF aircraft will enable decision advantage, moving the KC-46 enterprise forward. His grassroots efforts to shape the tactical employment of our newest mobility platform has resulted in standardized mission planning and normalization of KC-46 tactical data link operations in theater, a capability that was recently showcased at Red Flag. These unsung heroes are examples for all to emulate. 4 of them could be here today. So Tim, Boyd, David, and Luke, please stand and be recognized. Such remarkable accomplishments are allowing us to always be ready against our pacing challenge, China, and any other malign actor. Even so, we will need more of that drive and spirit found in these amazing individuals to retain a decision advantage over our adversaries. As our mobility air forces gain more battle space awareness in the cockpit, across the network, and on the ground, your initiative and real-time decisions will improve the joint forces' ability to respond to a changing operational environment, especially when connectivity is lost. With a shared understanding of the joint forces' mobility needs, you'll be better prepared to understand and recognize the friction points, supporting service maneuver concepts like agile combat employment, and exploit all opportunities in the operational environment. And as our airborne mobility platforms maneuver across the theater, our airlift and tanker crews must be empowered to capitalize on new opportunities in the air. It will be up to you to act and seize the advantage. For example, airborne tanker crews will see new threats and the receiver's position in the battle space, even as missions change. With commander's intent understood at all echelons, these crews will now have the resources to take disciplined initiative and act, allowing them to maneuver outside of pre-planned tracks, closer to receiver aircraft, and offload fuel faster, increasing the combat aircraft's on-station time, or to enhance their own survivability and protection in the face of pop-up threats. Connectivity could also inform the condition of forward logistics nodes and maintenance needs to airlift crews in theater. And, considering the principles of mission command, allow leaders to seize the initiative, connecting supply with demand, enabling sortie generation, or enhancing our force protection. Mission command will also benefit our cyber defenders across our vital networks. Shortly after the conflict in Ukraine began, Russia covertly jammed the Starlink network following its deployment in theater. In a matter of hours, this threat was identified and the Starlink team deployed successful countermeasures. By seizing the initiative and taking prudent risks, our cyber defenders could replicate success like this by rapidly identifying threat vectors across our network and taking action to counter them, providing a new level of resilience to our cyber domain and ensuring the joint force, our joint force, stays on the net. Dynamic actions like these across all domains will be necessary to prevail in the future contested logistics environment as we move to push resources forward before their requisition and execute pulse logistics to exploit windows of opportunity while we have the ability to act. And if that connectivity is lost, temporarily or otherwise, your disciplined initiative, understanding of the operational environment, and commander's intent will be what stands between logistics paralysis or projection. But there's one element, an absolutely crucial element, I haven't yet mentioned, and it underpins all of this. You must build relationships and trust across your teams, our mission partners, and across the joint force. Mutual trust, up and down and across every scene, will allow our mobility forces to gain synergies with mission partners, and it is what makes empowerment and mission-type orders possible. It must be developed in both words and actions, before, during, and after a crisis, reinforcing the fact that you may be able to surge people, equipment, and platforms, but as the saying goes, you can't surge trust. Today, I'll leave you with the words from our chairman of the Joint Chiefs. General Brown recently published his message to the force, and he reminds us why we're here. I quote, "Our nation needs us ready to fight today's battles while preparing for tomorrow's war. And through all, trust is the foundation. A foundation that will keep our formidable relationships across the force and with our mission partners strong, something our adversaries fear." Ladies and gentlemen, as you move out and take action, your understanding and mastery of mission command will create a decision advantage for the joint force against any threat, and it will support our all-important allies and partners when they need us most. Let's keep developing this trust in our people and develop the relationships necessary by doing the hard work now to preserve time and options. Our nation is depending on you. Thank you again for everything you do. I look forward to seeing what amazing things you'll accomplish over the next year. Together, we deliver.